I'm back. Welcome back to another episode of I'm Overwhelmed. Now what? My name is Kendall Kennedy. I'm a left-handed June Gemini, mom, entrepreneur, nonprofit founder, author, giver of care, neurodivergent, and I serve as a lot of things to a lot of people. I am her, and I am overwhelmed. I intentionally created this space as a solution for women who fearlessly care for everyone else while neglecting themselves. In this space, we talk about the struggle of juggling it all, carrying the load, and still trying to make sense of where we fit in our own story. Here we foster honest conversations, provide practical advice, and a little bit of laughter along the way. I teach pouring into others from your overflow because, baby, you need everything in your cup for yourself. All while promoting staying hydrated and moisturized because we too classy to be ashy. And being dehydrated dims our glow. And it can lead to making poor food decisions, like pulling up the drive-through, grabbing things that are quick and easy, when all our bodies really need is some water and probably a nap and a supplement or 2 or 3. No, I'm not going to start down that rabbit hole. That's another episode. Okay, let me get back on script. Can y'all tell I'm a little rusty? I haven't done this in a month of Sundays because life's been lifing. But I've been hydrating. All right, let me get back to script. So we're here and we gonna get better together. Ain't no doing it alone. You got me, I got you, and all will be well. This is I'm Overwhelmed. Now what? This is where I'm supposed to insert some cute transition music. I promise. I'm working on it. If you've been following this podcast, you know that caregiving was the heartbeat behind why I started this platform. As I said in my intro, this for me was a way to give voice to everything no one tells you about caring for a loved one or others, talking about the emotional toll, the exhaustion, the tiny victories, finding the good in the small things, and the invisible weight of being the responsible one. As I said when I opened, life has been life, and I lost one of my favorite aunts, my dad's oldest sister, and then I lost my dad within weeks of each other. And then we lost one of our dogs. So much has been happening, and I gave myself grace and space to pause, sit, and just be, which is why there's such a gap in post. I was trying to get back to doing things that I would usually be doing, because there were a lot of things I didn't do that I should have been doing. This summer, I started prioritizing me, and that gave me space. And I stepped back from the grind of everything. And just when I felt like I was, finding my balance with school, gardening, parenting, relationships, all the things, it all started to just happen. Like everything happened really quickly. It was a lot. So the silence between episodes has been me trying to catch my breath and breathe again. Me trying to grieve while making decisions, signing papers, delegating, and still showing up. I've been my dad's advocate for at least 3.5 years since his health started declining. And my advocacy didn't end when his life did. I championed and made decisions in the best interest of my dad, even after his death, because I wanted him to be put to rest. And it didn't work for everybody. So today's episode is inspired by the lessons I learned from losing my dad, Clearly, you read the title. I feel like this is a space where I'm supposed to tell you about my dad. My dad was my dad. He made sure I was good my entire life. I've compared people or even relationships to my daddy did this, my daddy did that. I remember when things wouldn't get done, I remember comparing the good things about my dad to people in my life. And when people failed me, I called my daddy because he was going to come through and he was going to fix it. He was going to do it. Things got done. I miss my dad dearly. So today's episode is deeply personal. But I felt like there were so many lessons that I wanted to make sure I shared them to help others who lose a parent, a loved one, and help others even prepare for when their time comes to make things easier on those who are left behind. I'm here to not just share the emotional part, but the practical things. One lesson I learned is that love isn't just how we care for someone while they're alive. Love also looks like preparing for the moment when you or when your loved one is gone and making sure that the departure doesn't destroy the people who are still left behind. Because the living still have to live. This episode isn't about death. It's about preparation. Things that went well, things that could have gone better, things I want you to do now, and things I'm doing now as well. So we can all do better together. We can plan better for the people we love most. Something I took away from this experience was there are two things that every person will experience. No one's exempt. There's a time to be born and there's a time to die. It's a must that we normalize planning in advance for what happens after us or our loved ones transition. So let's talk about it. Let's make a plan. Before I go any further, I got to make sure we stick to our main housekeeping over here. Today's episode is powered by water and tea as always. Today's tea mixture is somebody's detox tea. Y'all know I have like so many boxes of tea. I don't remember where I got everything from. But I think as I look at this tag, I think this is like Aldi's. It's a detox tea. One of my friends came in town. We took the kids to the Museum of Ice Cream. And the way my lactose selective stomach and intestines decided they was going to act up. Yeah, so detox tea it is. With a little bit of agave. That's what's in my cup. And the water's sitting beside me. So make sure you go find you some water, get you something so you can be hydrated while we talk. Well, I guess while I talk. And you plan. There we go. See? Everybody got something to do. So let's hydrate and get started. As we hydrate, I'll throw out that reminder again. Check your elbows, check your knees. Is your skin dry? Is you ashy? We not gonna look like what we've been through. We ain't gonna be out here ashy and dehydrated. Moisturize. Ooh, pro tip. Okay, I love this. I love putting people on to things that have changed my life. I don't even remember if I've said this before in a past episode. So part of my self-care routine, we have to find joy in the little things. That is something I'm always saying. I get excited about new pens. I get excited about little things, right? One thing that is a staple in my self-care routine, and it's used daily, is my lotion warmer. I encourage you, if you don't have a lotion warmer, get online and get you one. It's not too expensive. It's worth the investment. Lotion warmers are everything. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. In my lotion warmer, I mix things. I mixed vitamin E with a little bit of coconut oils and lotion. I have a collagen lotion, lotion with aloe, Jergens. It's a concoction. I be concocting. Get you a lotion warmer and do your own little thing. I buy the giant aloe leaves and Scoop that in there, whip it on up. Life-changing. So, lesson 1, get you a lotion armor. Okay, so we hydrated, we moisturized, ash can't reside here. Okay. See, I'm feeling better already. I miss this. This is not just for y'all, this is for me. I feel lighter since I pressed the record button. I already feel lighter. This is good. This is good. Okay, let's get started. So, I told you this is not going to be the heavy, emotional. This is going to be we getting better together. Y'all ready to get it together? I am. Okay. Mm-hmm. I done lost the place. Y'all know I try to script this out so the ADHD don't get the ADHD in on y'all too much. And so we not here all day. I don't even know. Where was I? Jesus be a fence. Okay, I'm ready. Y'all ready? Let's start out with addressing the elephant in the room. We have to normalize talking about transition, what happens after someone passes, and making plans. So we'll start there. Like, let's face the uncomfortable and talk about things that should be talked about. One of the problems is we don't have the conversations we need to have. I want to empower you. Have those conversations. We have to stop, oh, I'll get to it later. We're not there yet. This isn't the time. I don't want, mm-mm. Truth is, when you are experiencing loss, that's not the time to start asking questions. The time to do it is where everybody's mind is clear. Planning should happen early and often, just like they used to say about voting. Do it early and often. Pre-planning, it isn't morbid, it's responsible. As I mentioned earlier, it's an act of love. Love you and your people enough to plan in advance, help them plan so that the living can keep living and that they can grieve a little easier once you're gone or once your loved one's gone. Make it easier on yourself, make it easier on others. I got a fact for y'all. I love finding these facts. So according to AARP, only 44% of adults in the US have any end-of-life documents. And yet, nearly everyone says that they don't want to burden their family. Do you see the oxymoron in that? People don't want to be a burden, yet they don't have any plans in place. We gonna fix that, right? We gonna fix that. What I learned is you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. The more we sit in comfort, we miss out on so many things. Change is inevitable. Let's start being comfortable with getting uncomfortable. Life is gonna continue to life. The only thing we can do is plan and be prepared and continue to be resilient. Ask your parents, your partner, your spouse, those you know you'll most likely be responsible for when that time comes. This may be you need to sit down and ask yourself some of these questions. Here are a couple. Do you know how you want to be honored or celebrated after you pass away? Do you have a preference between being buried or cremated? Would you ever consider organ or body donation? Do you want to have a viewing? How do you see the celebration of your life playing out? What would you like to happen? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it sound like? Who's there? Who's not there? That was a question I had never thought of. Is there anybody you don't want to come? Think about those things. There are totally more questions. Use the internet. Ask AI, what are some pre-planning questions for end of life that we should be asking? Go do the research on your own. I'm not going to give you everything. I just want to get you started. Ask those questions to yourself or to your loved ones. Start planning. And let me tell you, there's no right answer. This is an individual thing. Everything is different for everyone, and that is okay. No experience will be the same. It's not a copy and paste. Just because this is the way it's always been done does not mean it's the only way. Everybody doesn't want a service. Everybody doesn't want the flowers. Everybody doesn't want a viewing. My dad did not want nobody standing over him looking down at him dead. He also didn't want anybody taking pictures, so there was no viewing. Have the conversations, find out what is it that a person wants to happen. What do you want to happen? Understand it and start planning. Challenge tradition. Tradition doesn't always mean right. We've learned that in life. If you look at old generations, they didn't talk about mental health issues. Now we're talking about these things. We're getting better. We're understanding. We're being more aware. Change doesn't mean bad. It's just different. Find out what is wanted. Write down your wishes. Write down the wishes of your loved ones. I'll give you an example. I learned embalming, it's only required if you are doing a viewing in most cases. It's a choice. Some families prefer it. It's required if you're going to have an open casket. Others skip it for environmental, religious, and personal reasons. There are some cultures and religions, they don't believe in embalming. It's a chemical. Some people don't want to bother the body, manipulate the body, or force the body to go through anything else. It's lived a life, let it rest. That's how some people view it. Educate yourself on the difference of embalming, preserving, and allowing bodies to be. Make the right decision for you. Allow your loved one to make the right decision for them. What matters is that things are made during moments of clarity, not in a rush, in a fog, or under grief or duress at 10 p.m. in a funeral home, or at 1 a.m. in a hospital, or sitting in the space of someone who has passed away. Now you have to, because everybody's calling and asking, when is this going to happen? What are the arrangements? What time? What day? Right? Make decisions early so that when things happen, there's already a plan in place. And all you have to do is execute. Start the conversations, document it, and when decisions get made, tell other people. I understood and knew my dad's wishes because we had conversations. I brought my sister in. She also was aware and clear on his wishes and what he wanted. I wish I would have told more people, told his sisters or told my other brothers who aren't as involved in the day-to-day because everybody's living their lives. Some of us were clear. Others were like, oh, so have the conversations, tell other people. Because when the time comes, clarity is the greatest gift one can leave behind. So here's your to-do. Schedule a talk in the next few weeks. Let's know, because then you ain't gonna do it. Schedule a talk in the next week with yourself or a loved one about their wishes. Put it on the calendar and make it a real thing. All right. Pausing for hydration break. The next part we'll get into is money, access, and more mess we don't talk about. Sometimes the financial pieces of planning out laying a person to rest, everybody doesn't talk about that. You don't hear people detailing how much the services, the casket, cremation, flower, obituaries, burial plot, the fee for the headstone setting fee. It's crazy. So people don't talk about all of these things. The cost of embalming, the transportation. Do you need the limos? Caskets, some of them are used car prices. The list of charges and fees add up really quickly, and I feel like the elders did not do a good job of educating us on all that's entailed in the planning and the considering and the making sure you contacted everybody. So let's get into it. Before my dad passed, I learned that just because we had power of attorney in place, it didn't always work out the way it was planned. He had Chase as his bank. They didn't recognize there was a dual power of attorney, me and one of my older brothers. The bank didn't care that it was notarized. They didn't care that I'm like, here's his full estate plan. They didn't care. They were like, no, they don't do dual POAs. They didn't care about it like at all. They want you to be on the bank account. And I wasn't. No one else was on the bank account. However, I did help my dad set up online banking. We had been reviewing his account monthly. Once he had caregivers for a period, I found out they were taking him. He wanted to go to the bank, so he had money, which ensured that we had monthly review sessions together of let's see what was going in and out. The nursing home, rehab facility, whatever you want to call it. At a point, they required bank statements to see his income. When his insurance stopped paying, they wanted bank statements. And that was such a hassle. The bank didn't care about our power of attorneys. Helpful tip, if possible, and you're the responsible person, or helpful tip for self, have a person on your bank account. Even if you don't, even if they're not using it actively, it helps if they are already listed on the account. It'll save so much stress and back and forth, and multiple visits, because the branch can't tell anything. They can take the paperwork, then somebody in legal that don't work in that building has to review it, which is going to take a while. Then you need an appointment, and then you got to come back, and then it's more stuff. So have the conversations with your bank. Find out how, or the bank, if it's for a loved one, find out how they handle situations like this so that you can proactively have plans in place, because all banks are different. There's that lesson. Write that down. Tell somebody about that one. While we're on the subject of access and pre-planning, we want to make sure the information is accessible and available, not just for bank accounts, but life insurance and other financial things. You may have a portfolio, you may have investments, retirement plan, wherever that is, that person or you, whichever, make sure those beneficiaries are up to date. That is something you should be reviewing at least annually. Life insurance, who's the beneficiary or beneficiaries? What company has it? How much is it? All of these things should be shared with whoever's going to be the executor of the estate, because everybody should have a will. I'm going to say everybody should have a will. There should be a plan for you, your loved ones. Have a plan. We all gonna die. All right. Have a plan. Legalize it. Notary, lawyer, do what you need to do. Have the conversation with others so they understand the wishes and what's gonna happen. Make sure pensions, Social Security, debts, all of those things need to be known. Why? Why, you ask? Because when you think about the costs, the first segment was talking about identifying the wishes of the deceased and how they want things handled. The average cost for funerals in America is between $9,000 and $14,000. Love is clarity. Here's another fact. 29% of GoFundMe campaigns are for funeral and final expenses. Let's not have to crowdfund and ask for donations to lay our loved ones or have others asking on our behalf to rest. Let's plan. If you have life insurance through your job personally, pause for the cause. We are no longer in the time where people stay at the job their entire life. People need to understand, if you have life insurance through your job, that policy is only paid for while you at that job. If you choose to keep it after you leave that job, the amount that you have to pay goes up drastically because your employer was paying part of it, and it's often not manageable to keep it. So please, look into getting independent life insurance that will be there regardless of where you work. I'm not saying don't have that work policy you paying $2 a paycheck for. Have that too. It's perfectly fine. Leave your people in a good place. Generational wealth, if it's not already been established, we never know the day or the time, right? But don't just rely on the policy from your job. That is what I want you to understand. My dad is one of those people who had working his job at 17. I grew up across the street from his job at the steel mill. That was his main job. He also had multiple properties, a landscaping business, a board business. He had other things he did on the side. He built race car engines, mechanic, did all kind of stuff. But that main job he had since he was 17. And when he retired early, they bought him out, and I think he retired at like 61. Unbeknownst to all of us, he thought his insurance was going to continue to be active. He was not aware. I don't know what lack of conversations there were or lack of understanding. However, I discovered maybe 5 or 6 years before his passing that he did not have active life insurance. And so we actually had to get another policy in which I said, at minimum, Dad, I need you to cover your final expenses, because the longer you wait to get life insurance, the more expensive it is. Because the longer you live, health issues, medical diagnoses, if you have issues, and life insurance becomes more and more expensive. And so his life insurance was a lot for not a lot, but we made sure there was enough to cover final expenses. That was a non-negotiable. Whatever that cost, it was going to be there. I implore you to have the conversations with your loved ones. Have independent life insurance so that regardless of where you work, you are still covered. Okay. Take 1 hour this weekend to locate you or your loved one's essential financial information. Make a document or make a list. And in that 1 hour, if you can't get it all together, make a list of what you know and what's missing. This is what's active. This is what's missing. And set a calendar appointment to hit the ground running on Monday to fill in the gaps for what's missing or the details of what's already active. Know what you have, how much you have, what you're missing, and how much you need. 1 hour could save your loved ones weeks of confusion later. That's the lesson. Now, I want to get into the emotional, messy part, family boundaries, and protecting your peace. I found this is the disappointing side of loss, but it's reality nonetheless, and we gonna talk about it. When someone dies, people show up in all kind of ways. Some help, some hurt, some don't show up at all. They disappear. And some make things harder than they need to be. You might face backlash, ignorance, or insensitivity. When people die, people get in their feelings. Sometimes they post on social media. That happened to me. Quick story time. My dad passed. I got the call from the facility. And it was a Friday night, like almost 10 p.m. I began to make calls. I called my dad's favorite niece. I got her voicemail. Sent a message, hey, call me when you get a chance. Before she could return my call, she logged into Facebook. She found out my dad passed via Facebook. It wasn't even an hour. This is the reality of the world we live in. So I'm going to tell you this, boundaries early. When you're making that plan about what's going to happen now, where there's clear thinking, where there's no rush and no one's grieving, while you're making this plan that you gonna make, we have to add those things into our plan so that when it's time to execute, it can be executed strategically. It's a shame we have to say this, but you need to write down that asterisk. Please don't post anything on social media until we've notified all the family. You may even need to write a reminder to okay others to share on social media. And you might need to decide if it's share once arrangements have been made and somebody went on Canva and made the flyer. I don't know. There may be something better than that later on down the line, but either way, establish when it's okay to put on social media. That also needs to be a part of the plan. And if someone breaks that boundary, because you know people want to try you and think they can do what they want to do because it's their social media page. It was also their loved one. Protect your peace. You don't owe anyone an argument while you're grieving. It's not worth your time and or energy. I also encourage you when the time comes, when you need to execute the plan, or if there wasn't a plan, but you still have to execute, delegate. Please delegate. Make a list of what needs to be done. You can go online and Google Google a list of things that need to be done. The funeral home, if you work with one, they can probably give you a list of things that need to be done. Make a list, assign names to the list, and delegate. You cannot do everything. Pick somebody that's supposed to take the pictures if you're not going to hire a photographer. Pick someone to gather the details that are needed for the obituary. Ask somebody to reach out to others to get that. Ask somebody to be in charge of the condolences, the acknowledgments, the cards and things that are going to come in. Ask somebody to handle the notifications of calling and texting people. You don't have to do it all. You're already overwhelmed in that moment. You're grieving and it can be suffocating. Remember that you also lost someone and you deserve space and grace. You're more than the event manager for this occasion. You are also grieving the loss of a loved one. So I encourage you to delegate. It also helps give people that would be getting on your nerves something to do so they can leave you alone. So delegating is a good thing. And you also have to be okay with they may not do it as well as you would have done it, but it's still gonna get done. You have to allow that to be okay. You have to be okay with, I know I told them to get light blue and they got dark blue. Or it was supposed to be white and they done walked up in here with cream. Let it go, okay? Give clarity in your directions and then allow it to happen, all right? It's not gonna be the end of the world. They have funeral consultants. That was something else I learned to help be more hands-on with planning, to help give you more options. There are even event planners that help with funerals. So that may be also something worth looking into if it's within your realm and your budget, but protect your peace. Delegating is a great thing. Y'all taking notes over there? Okay. Let's hydrate before we move to some practical tools that I want to give you all. All right. Are we hydrated? I'm going to assume you said yeah. So here's some tools that made a difference that I felt was helpful. I mentioned earlier that I lost my dad's oldest sister and him within weeks of each other. So we buried my aunt on a Saturday. My dad passed the following Friday. In that time, people that are out of town, people can't afford to come back. They just left, like they just got home. The way jobs set up, the way inflation and prices for everything is so freaking high, I had absolutely no expectations of anybody to turn right back around. We also know everybody can't take off work. Everybody can't be available for everything. It's just not possible. And I also didn't want my dad to have to lay in a refrigerator for weeks on end. Luckily, we did have a plan. Technology can be a blessing. This is another thing where I challenge tradition and what people always do to help accommodate others. I had family that wanted to come but couldn't because they're caregiving for elders. Kids have school, people have jobs, so many things. And so technology was definitely a help. I was able to offer remote viewing options for the graveside service as well as the celebration of life service. Those two things happened separately on different days. There was a graveside burial 7 days after he passed, and the following week there was a celebration of life / repast. Both had remote viewing options that allowed people to be present without missing work, without spending money to travel, make arrangements for their other responsibilities. Remote viewing option absolutely helped. And many of us learned that during COVID. because some of us, we couldn't travel. It was a good thing. I paid for a Zoom account. I was really pleased to be able to do that. It gave people who were grieving from a distance the opportunity to be a part of the goodbye. If you're planning ahead, definitely consider digital options. Another thing I did was created a digital obituary because one, have y'all heard how expensive obituaries are? Crazy. Ridiculous. Yes, I still printed some. I only printed, I think like 50, but there was a digital obituary. I created the Canva card, had a QR code with links to the Zoom, the digital obituary, service information, and it was helpful. A free Linktree account allowed the links to everything to be in one space. There was also a link to his Facebook page, which I turned into a memorial page for people to be able to post things there. There you go. You can look on Facebook about how to assign someone as, I forgot what they call it, but you can assign a person while you're living to be able to turn your Facebook page into a memorial page after your passing. Facebook requires you to send a death certificate in, but you have to appoint someone. So while you're alive in order to do that. That's another thing. If you're also planning ahead, think about Google Drive or a Dropbox for important documents. That list you're making, where you don't save that at where it's accessible, right? Because we change computers, we change phones, people move. Where are you going to put your information in a place and be able to share a link to the file that'll always be accessible? Think about it. Make sure you have clear written instructions in a document that you want to print and have available digitally. And also in that cloud or whatever space you're going to use, have a call list. Who to call? Is it the bank, the job, your insurance, your employer, your pastor, the lady that used to live next door and now she done moved 4 states over on her second husband? Make a list of those people, their information, email, link to their Facebook page, phone numbers, whatnot, because we know things change. People move, people change numbers. Find something that people may keep. Create a list of who's important, who you would want, or who you know your loved one would want to be contacted so that people can do that. I admit there was so much happening. It was a few days before we thought about, we need to call some of his friends he hadn't talked to. So yeah, make a call list, create a call list. These things, these systems, these solutions, this is what works. When you have systems in place, things happen. Grief doesn't have to mean chaos. There's order. Make it easier for others and yourself. Okay, hydrate. And next segment. I hope y'all notes is noting on this day. Here's another emotional truth that I feel people don't talk about. We just go through it. Grieving while being responsible is a thing. And here's the hard part about admitting this. I didn't have the space to grieve in that moment, in weeks surrounding it, because I was always on. I heavily felt the responsibility to advocate for my dad and his best interest. And I feel like I was defending myself between family and other people because I knew his wishes. I was advocating and others may not get it or agree with it. I would have done a few things differently. Absolutely. In the moment, tensions are high, emotions are high. Everything's just happening, but grieving while being responsible is a huge responsibility in itself. It's a lot. Operating while considering everybody else's needs. I didn't consider mine. I did not do a good job of considering my feelings well. I delegated in some spaces and places because one, I wanted to make sure my siblings and, my dad's siblings, they felt involved. Everybody asked questions. How can you help? My friends were amazing. They showed up, they helped, they pitched in where I needed. And that was so helpful to me. And I love and appreciate them. And I always will. Having people come through and support you, top tier. I was strong, capable, and I was informed. I'm empowered. And yet, at the same dang time, I was breaking down quietly in the background. It's okay. Stuff will happen, but we can get through it. We will get through it. Have these conversations. Start talking about things. When you know people who have experienced loss and they were the responsible person, you may be able to get some nuggets from them. I encourage you to have conversations, learn and do better. Give yourself space and grace because you deserve it. If you are a caregiver or giver of care to others in your family or in your life, I want you to know I see you. It's a heavy weight that we carry. Many of us never even asked to carry it. Everyone assumes we'll handle it, we'll get it done, and that all is well. I want you to know I see you. And we can do better, and we will do better because we're going to make plans for ourselves and our loved ones to allow ourselves the grace that we deserve when things happen. I also want to remind you that you have the right to fall apart, ask for help, create and stand on boundaries, and you have the right to grieve. All those things. You are so many things to so many people. Give yourself grace. Allow yourself to feel and allow yourself to heal. I think this is a really good space for us to do some of our deep breathing. Do some deep breaths. All right, you ready? If you can and able, loosen your arms, your fingers, your shoulders, and your neck. Give yourself a moment to prepare for this breath because you probably need it. I don't know what kind of day you had, but it's been one over here and the day before. So if it's safe and you're able, you can close your eyes during this moment because this moment is about you. It's all about you. All right, let's prepare and let's inhale with intention. We're going to inhale love and good energy. We're going to take it and fill up our lung capacity and hold it for a second. And then we're going to exhale with intention and release the pressure to be perfect, to do it all and to be everything for everyone. And then we're going to take another breath. We're inhaling all the love I'm sending your way and the good energy and the positive vibes. I want you to take it all in, beloved. I love you and it ain't a thing you can do about it. Now, if you ain't already did it, because I done got long-winded, go on and exhale the stress, fatigue, and the negative energy. Let it all go. Release it and let it go. If you need to pause and take another breath or two, feel free. Take care of your needs. This moment is about you and your well-being. After we get done breathing, let's hydrate. After you're breathing, take a second to hydrate. I've ran out of tea at this point, so we'd switch to water. All right, let's wrap up this more of turning pain into purpose. The purpose of this is empowerment. Oh, so this podcast begins space for you. I may have lost my dad. I may not be a caregiver for an aging parent with dementia anymore, but I'm still caring for my children, my loved ones, supporting other women through my nonprofit, mentoring, writing, and shining my light amongst men so that they can see God's good work and goodness through me. Things just look different, but the marathon continues. Losing my father taught me that the end of life is not the end of love. It's the moment when love changes form. Yeah. He may not be here with me physically, but he'll always be in my heart. So the love just looks different. And in this moment, I want you to know that if we make the time and prioritize to prepare properly, that love can help bring us peace instead of panic or chaos. Here are your takeaways from this episode. All right, I need to get my energy back up. Here's your checklist of things to do before loss happens. Schedule intentional conversation with your loved ones, or look in the mirror and do it with yourself. Put it on the calendar, send an invite, write it on the fridge, pre-planning meeting. Write it down so you know it's real. 2, begin with the end in mind. So when the day comes for said meeting, if it's with yourself or if it's with others, discuss how things should go after. How does the deceased want to be remembered? Record the conversation so you don't feel the need to document every single thing. Record the conversation. Make it light. Schedule a follow-up to make decisions. You may not make them in the first meeting things may not be decided on. Sometimes it's just having the conversation. And if you're dealing with seniors or stubborn people, it may take a few conversations, right? Because we know some people have their, I ain't gonna do it, It may take some convincing. You may even have to put yourself as the example. Well, I decided that when my time comes, this is what I want done, and here's why. I want to make sure that I'm helping and not hurting anyone. I want to make sure the living can live and be at peace. I want to ensure I'm not taking money out of anybody's pocket. I know the living still have bills to pay, and they still do on time. So sometimes you may have to coax folks to get what you need from them. Make the plans, have the conversations, everything in writing, have your recording, and it's okay if it takes a little bit of time to iron out decisions. It's okay. Make choices, learn their desires. Do they want to be buried in their good church dress with the hat? Do they want some gloves? Do they want a viewing? Is burial, cremation, organ donation? You want to donate your body to science? You want your ashes sent back somewhere or spread somewhere? So many things, so many options. What do you want? This is an individual decision. Remember, everybody's different. Have the conversation, tee it up, make some decisions, write it down. Number 3, look at the plans and then start planning how they'll get paid for. Funeral homes have payment plans. If burial is your options, cemetery has payment plans. There are things you can pay for in advance or start paying for in order to make sure the costs are covered and everything's been considered. Write the vision, make it plain, plan for how it will be executed. Remember, it's all about creating clarity. You can always modify your plans if things change. You should be going back over your plans at least annually. Also, identify who's going to execute. Who's going to be the overseer of all these things? If there is no will, get one, but identify who's running the show. And let them know. It may not be you. Your loved one may want someone else to do. That's okay. Identify and notify people. Now, somebody may want this person to make the greens and this person to make the banana pudding, and don't let this person bring nothing but plates, cups, and napkins. Let's be clear, because everybody can't bring the potato salad and make the macaroni. Make those lists. Things like that may even help to lighten the conversation, bring a few laughs. You may get some good stories out of these things, but identify who's going to do what. Make that list. Make that list. It's bound to be an interesting conversation. And you may learn some stories about some things you didn't know. I promise you, you won't regret having a plan. The last thing is centralize the information. Inform folks of where it is and what needs to be done. That is your homework. You can use the Note app on your phone, Google Doc, Google Sheets if you want to make it into a spreadsheet. There are free things you can use to make this happen. No excuses. There are none. Get it done, okay? I want you to remember this. Love isn't just flowers and memories. Love is preparation. It really and truly is preparation. As I come to a close and get y'all up out of here, if you've listened and stayed with me all the way through, thank you. I appreciate you. This episode took me a while to find the strength to record. I kept going back and editing and taking stuff out because what I ain't got time for is people to be in their feelings. But I believe my story can help others do better, be better, so we can get better together. I want to help bring peace to you and your family. So whether you're a caregiver now or you've already said goodbye to someone you love, I hope you take this as a sign to plan, talk, and prepare and protect your peace. Make your plans, power them to make their plans. Because the truth is, we can't control loss, but we can control how prepared we are for it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being a part of this community that is still learning, we're still loving, and we're still healing. And if nobody's told you this today, you're doing a good job. Keep going. Take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next episode.